Question. Your favorite Warframe, Ash Prime, has just been reworked, so you now have to mark your Bladestorm targets manually. Do you A. Throw down your smoke bomb like the amazing space ninja that you are, and carefully plan out your assassination? Or do you B. Find a nice flat corner and
drop it?
Yep. So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and the Ash rework has finally arrived, and with it we also got the Ash Koga skin and a Nikana Koga skin. You can buy the Ash skin separately for 165 platinum from the market, or you can buy the bundle which costs 215 platinum and has both the Ash skin and the Nikana skin. I must say I'm a big fan of this Ash skin, but I'm not sure whether I want to go full edgelord and go black and red, or I want to color him so he looks like one of the Ninja Turtles. The Nikana skin is very nice as well, and of course I will be using it in combination with the new Ash skin, but since the holster is very thin, it doesn't actually do an awful lot once you get into a mission, because you basically won't see it. Now, Bladestorm wasn't the only thing that changed. You can now cast Smoke Bomb while running around and even in the air, and this just makes Ash far more pleasant to play. And Teleport, on top of allowing you to teleport to either friendly players or enemies, can now teleport you to everything that has a health bar, so you can now use it to teleport to, for example, containers. Now let's talk a little bit about the Bladestorm rework. So Bladestorm is now a two-stage ability. You can no longer simply press the button once and Bladestorm an entire room. When you press the Bladestorm button now, you will enter a mark mode, and mousing over enemies with your crosshair will mark them for Bladestorm. You can mark each enemy up to 3 times, and each mark will cost you 15 energy. However, if you are under the effect of your smoke bomb, so you are invisible, this cost will go down to 10. Once you press the Bladestorm button again, you will start Bladestorming around and stabbing all the enemies that you've marked previously. And if any of the marked targets die, which will be a common occurrence now because they can finally be damaged by your allies, it will refund the energy you spent on marking them. Now, from the little bit of testing that I did, it doesn't seem like there is a cap on how many targets you can mark. You can basically mark the entire map as long as you have the energy to do it. And while you're in the Bladestorm mark mode, let's just call it, you do not have your energy generation disabled. So if you're running the Zanuric focus school and you have the passive energy regen, you can really mark an entire map if you want to. Also, the Bladestorm marks don't seem to have any duration or be affected by duration, because I did try this with my old Bladestorm build, which had very little power duration, and the marks seem to be staying on forever. And as a little cherry on top, enemies killed by Bladestorm will now dissolve, so there are no corpses left behind to alert the enemies. Now, as far as a Bladestorm build is concerned, for Ash Prime I decided to go with a 1 for my build, where I've added a D. And the mods I decided to use are Steel Charge, which adds a ton of damage to Bladestorm. Then I'm using Power Drift combined with Intensify for some power strength, which also adds damage to Bladestorm. Primed Continuity to add duration to Smoke Bomb, and this is pretty important because it gives you a lot of survivability because you are invisible, but it also reduces the cost of the Bladestorm marks. Now, to reduce the cost of the Bladestorm marks even further, I'm using Fleeting Expertise. That's 2 ranks from the top with Streamline, which gives me 170% power efficiency and makes the marks incredibly cheap. Then I'm using Rising Storm to give me longer combo duration on Bladestorm, which just increases the damage overall, especially if I mark a ton of targets, and allows me to sustain my combo counter in between Bladestorms if I don't take too long with marking new targets. Then I wanted a bigger buffer for the Bladestorm marking mode, so I'm using Primed Flow, which is really not necessary. You can use the regular flow because with this much efficiency, especially if you're using Smoke Bomb, the marks are really cheap. And finally, since we are now more vulnerable in between Bladestorms, even though we're using Smoke Bomb, I wanted to add some durability to this, so I'm using Steel Fiber to give me some more armor and Vitality to give me loads of health. Now, had I made this video yesterday, I would have been far more enthusiastic about the Bladestorm rework. I am still very excited about the Smoke Bomb change that just adds a ton of fluidity to the character in general, and the teleport change is kind of nice. However, when I first tried this yesterday, I was really excited about the Bladestorm rework as well, because I'd be sitting there in my Smoke Bomb, looking around, carefully marking targets, then I would mouse over an Eximus unit and I would go, ooh, that's an Eximus unit, I want to mark this dude twice because he's tougher. Unfortunately, the finesse slowly faded away in favor of just pressing Smoke Bomb, pressing Bladestorm, blindly flailing my mouse in the vague direction of the enemy, and then pressing Bladestorm again, which is unfortunately far more effective. Especially if you find a nice dead-end corridor so the enemies can only spawn in front of you, or you at least find a nice corner. And as soon as I figured out that this is the most effective way of using the new Bladestorm, my enthusiasm just vanished almost instantly. Previously, you would press Bladestorm, then you would have a seizure for a little bit because of the screen jumping around all over the place, but now you're just standing in a corridor or in a corner, you press Bladestorm, you flail your mouse around, then you press it again and Bladestorm everything. And the only thing they can do to make this not the best way of using Bladestorm is to basically force you to hover over the enemy for like a second or so, which would completely break the flow. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't a big fan of the old Bladestorm either. It was fun for a little bit, but once you start farming with it, it's basically press forward to watch cinematic. That was Ash. And I know there will probably be a couple of people in the comment section that will tell me that I shouldn't just flail my mouse around, but that's just not how it works. If this is the most effective way of using Bladestorm, people are gonna do it. So unfortunately, I am not the biggest fan of this Bladestorm rework. I'm gonna wait a couple of days to see what they're gonna do with it, if they're gonna address this wild flailing of the mouse, then pressing Bladestorm. But right now, not the biggest of fans. And that's pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching. As always, I want to know what you think about the Bladestorm rework, so let me know in the comment section below this video, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!